Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, then I am Ridhi, a CBSE 11th grader, and today I'm making a really productive study vlog. Make sure to watch the video till the end as I'll be showing you all how I revise for a test, especially because I have one on the 21st of June, and I'll be sharing with you all the best way to prepare any chapter thoroughly. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Before starting to study, I decided to have my lunch. We had a party at home and it's so tasty that I felt like having it for lunch. And obviously, I was watching the FIFA World Cup. Oh, Haaland just scored a goal. So, guys, this is my task list for the day. I just had my lunch and I'm going to be attending my classes in a few minutes. They're going to be of 4 hours, so I decided not to keep my evening task list very hectic. So, I just decided on doing a question from my English summer assignment. I have to just make like a small profile for the grandmother, and then I have decided to revise the chapter motion in a straight line in physics because that's going to be a part of my test. And we recently had like a recorded practice session, so I'm going to be practicing all the numericals in that in this. Yep, so that's pretty much it. Let's start studying. So here I'm attending my second class, which was maths. The first one was physics, but I didn't really get any recording for that. But anyways, in maths I focus more on solving the questions that he gives in class and also the ones which he doesn't do in the class. And I don't really maintain a separate notebook for maths because I don't really want to refer to different materials to revise for one subject. So I maintain one notebook, which is my school notebook, and whatever extra points that is given during the class, I add to that. होना चाहिए पहले से लीनियर फैक्टर में थर्ड स्टेप क्या है x का कोएफिशिएंट पॉजिटिव. So guys, class is just finished and I was obviously tired after studying for 4 hours straight, because who wouldn't be? Anyways, so I went out for taking a break and I ended up spending 30 minutes. So now here I am feeling guilty about it. But let's put that aside. So after coming back, I have decided on starting the chapter Motion in a Straight Line. And before doing that, let me just tell you what happened in class today. We had physics as well as math today, and in physics we studied a bit more on vectors, and then for maths we studied the wavy curve method in linear inequalities. So vectors is like a really important topic that we need. It's like a fundamental topic before you start studying motion in a plane, because it's apparently needed in some very important areas. Anyways, so now we're gonna start studying. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'll be sharing with you all the best way to prepare a chapter that I feel, I'll be telling you all a bit more about it right now before I start revising my chapter. So let's take an example, like I'm revising the chapter Motion in a Straight Line currently with my notes. It doesn't matter whether you have your notes or not. You can study, if you can follow this method even if you have a textbook or your class notes, but I suggest you write your own notes. It's because whether you watch lectures and take the notes, or during classes you actively write down notes, that doesn't matter. But it's always better if you have your own notes because it helps in your understanding. And yeah, so let's start. So the method that I follow is basically called the SQ3R method. It's really good. It's not something that I've created on my own, but I've just come across and I've used this throughout 10th standard, as well as my mom. She suggests me to use this method because it works for me. So what it actually stands for is basically survey, questions, and the 3R refers to read, recite, and review. So what you actually do in this method is you write down, you look at it, you say it, and you hear it. So like all your senses are working together, so that helps in better retaining of what you have studied, and you'll be able to remember easily. So how do you follow this method is that you take your notes, textbook, or whatever material you have, and first of all in survey you just go through all the titles. Like I'm going to be revising the chapter Motion in a Straight Line, so I'll just be going through like reference point, rest and motion, distance and displacement in 3D, average speed, average velocity, deriving the equations of motion, sign conventions, different cases of these equations. So I'll be just reading through them, even though I don't know what the topic is, even though I don't understand. And after this, what I'll be doing is that For especially for theory subjects, you can form questions out of the headings, and it's basically like a way of testing yourself, that after you read a certain paragraph, you try to answer the question that you created through the title, and if you're not able to answer, then that means you need to read through that paragraph once again. So for physics, I don't see much of utility of that particular thing, because physics is based more on practicals and numericals. So I skip that for physics. But where there are theory topics involved, I definitely try to follow that. And after this, because I've already taken my notes, the first R, that is read, what I do is I just try to keep a notebook next to me, and as I read it, if I come across any formula, I'll just write it down. I think this method is also called blurting, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think it's called blurting. Anyways, so what you basically do is, what you read, you just write down, not in many words, not in not very elaborative, just briefly, like 2 3 words to explain a topic, or you just need to write down all the formulas that you have come across. Just that. And after that, while you're taking down your notes, you're going through the paragraph, you're basically going through all the information. And then after this, while doing, we move to the second R, that is read. So while doing to do all of this, you're basically reading it, and when you're reading it, you're saying it aloud. Make sure to say it aloud, don't read in your mind, that doesn't really help. So make sure to read aloud, so your ears hear it. If your ears hear it, then that means you're going to be retaining more information. So in this way, I try to cover a chapter thoroughly, and finally comes the third R, which is review. After I go through the whole chapter, I basically try to see all the notes that I have written. Not this one, not the notes or the material that I'm reading out from, but the notes that I have written down while going through the material. So that really helps in retaining more information about the chapter. And after doing this, this isn't complete preparation. This is just you going through the concepts of the chapter. After this, the main thing, especially for grade 11 and 12, is question practice. So first things first, make sure to go through the NCRT, any extra points, and you can solve the exercises. That's a must thing. You must solve the NCRT exercise questions, and after that, you can go online or refer to your guidebooks or any other extra material that you come across to solve more and more questions. More question practice is equal to better understanding of the chapter. And if you have taken theoretical subjects, like if you've taken biology, just make sure not to leave the diagrams until the end. Like as you study, like suppose if I have a material of a biology chapter, I haven't taken biology as a subject, but if I have different diagrams of various things in biology, right? So instead of leaving or skipping the diagrams for later, what you could do is spend those extra 2 3 minutes right there in trying to analyze as well as memorize the diagram. And if you can, just try to briefly draw it. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be looking good, you can just write it. Sorry, you can just draw it. Yeah, that helps. And after that, you can go through quizzes, and I think that's the best way to prepare a chapter. And make sure to do PFIQs, those are the most important things. And at the end, if you would like to review your chapter, you could just keep your material aside and take out the notebook in which you were writing all this while, and you could just create like a small flow chart for whatever you have studied. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I'll be revising my chapter, so see you after some time. So here's just a small time lapse for you all to see how I'm revising my chapter. Here I'm basically writing down in a separate notebook as well as reading it at the same time. So after this, I started doing my English holiday assignment. In this, I basically have to create like a profile for the grandmother in the chapter The Portrait of a Lady. And this time the holiday assignment load is a bit too much, so I've decided to do a little bit of assignment and a little bit of study in the same day. This way I can manage. And after that, I practiced basic maths and calculus as well as motion in a straight line, because that's what's coming for the test. Thank you for watching. As always, I hope you learned something new today. Bye.